confession which comes from Carol. Thank you. Festive Carol. Simon and the gang. This is not my confession, although I did play a part, albeit in complete innocence. It is on behalf of my very much loved dad and equally loved uncle, sadly no longer with us. When I was a child, Christmas time was very much a family time with grandparents, aunts and uncles, and various cousins gathering together. Festive food and drink aplenty, bowls of peanuts, crisps, and Quality Street whenever you wanted, not just the boring every now and again rule, which no one likes. That is true. That is one of the best things. Oh, look, a bowl of sweets.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll help myself all the time.
For breakfast. Thank you. Board games, singing, and group TV watching were the order of the day.
Yes.
As I remember the TV specials we look forward to, enormously, each one of the shows guaranteed to be better than Mrs. Brown's Boys. Even the Christmas Last of the Summer Wine and Crossroads were better.
Yes. Okay.
Was there a festive Crossroads? I don't remember.
No, I don't remember that, no.
Anyway, I'm getting distracted.
Yes.
My dad and uncle used to take it in turns every year to dress up as Santa. This is obviously the pretend version.
Of course,
as opposed to the real thing.
Yes.
And give out the presents to me and my brother and cousins. But every year, my granddad was desperate to do it. He really didn't see why the Yuletide Santa rota did not include him. The answer was, of course, that he would give the game away immediately. He wouldn't try to disguise his voice. He'd just say, "Oh, hello, son." And maybe a small beer would be welcome. And then inevitably he'd say, "I'll just use the loo if I may." You get the idea. It wouldn't have been a mystery Santa at all.
No.
So, the consequence of all this is that he was never allowed to be Santa until one year, after much non-stop nagging, trolling in fact, if we thought of the phrase. My dad and uncle finally relented and they let Granddad be Santa. On the day he excitedly got changed, secretly of course, slipped out of the house so that he could turn up, knock on the front door as a surprise. The chimney at our place wasn't up to much, and it had been declared unsafe, so the front door it was.
Yeah.
We were all so pleased to see him, although I remember he had gone a bit overboard with my mum's rouge. He was a very jolly Santa.
Rosy-cheeked.
Maybe he hadn't checked the mirror, so he looked very rosy-cheeked indeed. He chortled and ho-ho-hoed his way around the house, duly handed out the presents, used the loo, inevitably.
Obviously, that's fine.
Can I just pop in?
Just Rudolph, yeah.
And I had a wonderful time with his grandchildren. When it was time for Santa to leave, all the children and my dad and my uncle gathered at the front door to wave him goodbye. We followed him down the path, and we waved. Santa waved back. He trotted off down the road. Now, you should know, for this next bit, we live on a very long, very straight road with good visibility for all. Off Santa set down the road. Bye then, children, he called. Bye, Santa, we called. However, every time he turned round to come back, encouraged by my dad and uncle, we remained standing at the end of the path,
Yes.
waving and shouting,
Of course.
"Bye then, Santa." Having walked some distance, he ducked behind a couple of parked cars, clearly thinking we'd all go indoors. But as soon as he popped his head up, there we all were, waving. "So long, Santa. See you next year." So off he had to trudge. Further and further he went. When he had become a little dot in the distance, maybe 3/4 of a mile,
Wow.
my dad and uncle relented and brought the children inside. Grandad eventually came back, freezing cold and very grumpy. Unsurprisingly, he never asked to play Santa again.
No.
The image of Santa disappearing into the distance has stayed with me all these years, and I can still hear my dad and uncle laughing as he disappeared up the road. At the time, I had no idea what had happened, but it's a story that they both love to tell. I, for one, totally forgive them and hope you and your listeners will too as well. Merry Christmas to you all. Okay, that's very nice. Thank you, Carol. Very nice story. I have this image also of a tiny little Santa at the end of the road, desperate to turn around because he's getting cold.
Yeah.
Sister Susie from the pub, although in the studio today.
Carol, I feel like, he probably needed another wee by the time he got all the way down the road, didn't he? So,
that's what he was doing, duck behind the car.
Behind the cars, yeah. So I do feel a bit sorry for Grandad Santa. However, I just love the idea of you just standing there being like, no, bye, Santa.
Such a
bye.
simple idea.
And just stood there, kept on going, and very, very funny. Well done, Dad and Uncle, for thinking of that one. And I'm going to forgive you because I thought it was brilliant.
Forgiveness has come from Sister Susie, which kind of leaves you in a difficult position.
Well, it does and it doesn't, because, I mean, really, I don't think we've ever had a confession that has focused quite so fiercely on Santa's toilet habits. That's got to be a first. I like that a lot. I love that story, and I like the fact that he clearly hadn't thought it through, that he was going to have to keep on going down the road, ducking under cars. Fabulous stuff. Definitely forgiven. Well done. What a great story.
Okay, so the